Melissa here, and this is the book break. Today, I've got some cool guys here with me. Now, do you like to read books?
Oh yeah.
Okay, how about you?
Yes.
Let's go talk to some authors. Come on. With Jody Lynn Nye. Thank you so much for being with me, Jody.
Oh, thank you so much for having me.
So you have been a writer for a while. How many books do you have published?
Over 50, somewhere between 53 and 58.
Wow. And what is this your newest one?
This is.
Tell me more about Moontrack.
Okay, it is the second book in a series that I'm writing with Travis Taylor, who is an actual rocket scientist.
Oh my goodness.
Oh yes. The man has 8 college degrees, and the first book in the series, Moonbeam, the science in it was based on one of his doctoral dissertations.
Yeah.
About 6 young people doing science on the moon under the aegis of a supervising scientist who is also a television personality who does not look at all like Dr. Travis Taylor. Oh no, no, no. But it's a lot of fun for kids. We're trying to introduce them to these STEM disciplines and get them encouraged in thinking they can be a part of our future. They can have projects of their own, and they can seek their own dreams out in science and make the future happen.
That's great. And how did you meet up with Travis Taylor? I mean, a man with 8 degrees. That's pretty incredible.
He is actually pretty incredible. He's a fun guy. He is a fellow Baen author. I've been working for Baen Books on and off for, well, since 1989, so 30 years.
Wow.
And he's also a fellow Baen author. We started talking at one of the publishers' parties. We both decided that we wanted to write young adult science fiction, and maybe we should work together.
Oh, awesome.
So we went away to a quiet spot, came up with a plot, went to the publisher and said, hey, how would you like to buy this? And actually she said yes.
That's great. Now, how did you get started in writing?
Oh, I've been writing all my life. My parents tell me that when I was 3, I was already telling stories to my baby brother. When I was 6, I was my own publisher, illustrator, and writer, of course, making books out of my father's office paper.
Yeah.
So I've always been doing this, told stories to my cousins, and when I was a junior counselor, well, also as a fellow camper, I would tell stories once the lights went out.
Yeah,
so
that's so fun. And what age of readers typically like your books?
Anywhere from smart 10 all the way through adult. My fantasies I leave clean on purpose, so they have gateway drugs to the senior books, but my science fiction, whatever is appropriate to the story is what happens. So that's a little different. When I was growing up, I would go through the libraries, and at that time they were still steering kids away from the adult section, and I will not have that. I want people to be able to access my stories by the time they're able to understand the stories and the vocabulary.
Yeah, I think that's really important, because kids need to not necessarily be sheltered like we think, like, oh, we don't want to make it too scary for them, but they can take it.
They can take certain things. We have to bear in mind what they can take,
That's true.
And not expect them to take too much.
Yeah.
It's not fair to them. They can absolutely accept more things than you might think possible, but should we force them to understand certain concepts? And real life is scary enough.
Absolutely. Well, and you keep it clean so that as a parent, we don't have to worry about what they're going to read in your book.
No, if it's one of my fantasies, go right ahead.
That's great. And do you write full time?
I do. This is my job.
So what does a typical day look like for you?
Well, I get up, I feed the cats, I make my cocoa, and I sit down at my computer. Sometimes I look at social media, sometimes I play a few rounds of a game, and then I start writing.
Yeah.
And I write until I'm writing gibberish, and then I stop.
Yeah. And you're at a conference, we're at a conference right now. How many of these conferences do you go to?
I used to only go to about 5 a year. I seem to be going to 11 or 12 now.
Oh, wow.
Thanks to the Bards Tower, the booth behind us.
Yeah.
They have been incredibly generous about bringing me to the attention of these conventions and since this is year 4 or 5 of the tower, the conventions are starting to ask for me, which is really nice.
Yeah.
I'm happy to be back here at Salt Lake. They are very, very good hosts, and they take good care of us.
Oh, and where are you from originally?
I'm from the Chicago area.
Awesome. So this is a little far away from home then.
Just a bit, but that's fine. I liked experiencing new places.
Yeah, and you also speak and teach and are on panels, right?
Oh, all the time, yes.
What are some things that you teach about?
I teach a writing workshop at Dragon Con, which is the biggest fan-run convention in the world. It's in Atlanta every Labor Day weekend, and I have a 2-day intensive workshop. I also teach shorter workshops at almost any convention that has got one going. I am happy to volunteer for that. I've been given so much from senior authors that I'm happy to give back to the next generation.
Yeah, that's great. And what would be something, if you're going to give a piece of advice for an aspiring author, what's some things you would tell them?
I would tell them, don't wait for someone to give you permission to write a story, but finish what you're writing and then get it out there and then be writing the next thing while you're waiting to hear back on whether or not someone's going to buy the first one. And then when you finish the second one, write the third one. But always keep in mind what you have as your dream, as your voice is unique. So we're all waiting to hear that. We don't want to hear the same old thing. As writers, we love to read.
Yeah.
So please, go ahead and write your things, because I need things to read as well.
Right.
I'm not writing books that I'm going to read later. That's for other people. But somebody's got to be writing books for me.
Yeah. And what are some of the things you like to read?
I like to read mysteries. I enjoy biographies. I have been catching up on the classics, and as I make friends with other writers, I want to read the things that they're doing.
Yeah.
There's so many amazing minds out there.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for being here with me, Jody.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
And thank you for joining us on the Book Break. We'll see you next time.
My name is Art Coombs. I'm the CEO of Cambia Corporation and the author of Don't Just Manage, Lead. My eldest daughter is Kelly. I've got a son, AJ. I've got a son, Kai. And then I've got Mac, Mary Ashley Coombs. First and foremost, my passions are my family, my parents, my kids, my family at work. I love what I do, and I love who I do it with. I've been giving this presentation for many years, and I decided to take my kids to one of the presentations. And as a result of them attending, my children said, "Dad, why don't you write a book?" Real leaders focus first, I believe, on the person and are empathetic, because they're human just like everyone else. They're not scared to say, "Hey, I made a mistake." They're not scared to shed a tear. They're not scared to laugh and show emotion. Real leaders lead with vulnerability. And in that vulnerability is the very thing that attracts people to follow them. That's why people want to follow them. Enjoy the book, and remember, people don't want to be managed, they want to be led.
Our hero went to the cave at the base of the volcano. He faced a bare rock wall where no entrance was visible. Yet Tyrus knew it was there and guarded. He had to find it. His people needed him desperately.
Beyond Reality, The Lost is a book that I wrote with my grandson, DJ Densley. It is about a young man who is so lost in his games that he's given up his friends and his family. One day he finds himself waking up inside his game and discovers that living the game for real is nothing like playing it safely in your home.
He stepped cautiously toward the wall, one step and then another. The ground began to shimmy. Vegetation quivered and seemed to be growing. Within seconds, a large serpent's head cleared the ground and rose even taller. "Sagar," Tyrus whispered. A loud shrill pierced the air.
The way I came to write this book with my grandson was a simple summer project. He'd just turned 14, and I couldn't stand the idea of him being lost in his room, locked away from everybody, playing video games. So I suggested that maybe we just write a story about video games instead of playing it for a while. And it turned into this amazing book. You can buy our book at Amazon.com or at BarnesandNoble.com.